I bid you all good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins, broadcasting from Merritt, British Columbia. Well, here it is, guys. BC's population grew by 70,000 last year. That's the province of British Columbia in Western Canada that's on the Pacific Ocean. And with Canadians having less children and can't afford to get or start a family, how did BC's population grow by 70,000 last year? Let's take a look at what the article has to say. Surrey leads BC population growth with 16,382 new residents last year, an increase of 2.9%. The population of BC continues to grow, and it's the city of Surrey that's leading the way. BC's population rose by more than 70,000 people last year, hitting 5,071,000 as of July the 1st, 2019. According to BC Statistics 29 population estimates that they're increasing of 1.7% over 2018. Surrey Mayor Doug said it wasn't surprised to see that BC stats have pledged growth 2.9% in the city. In his city, which was the largest hike in the number of residents year over year of any single BC community at 16,382 people. We thought we were growing at the rate of 1,000 a month, but that's more than like 1,400 a month, he said. We see the growth as a good thing as long as we keep up the infrastructure, he said. We recognize that we would have this growth, and we got in front of it. So basically they're looking at expanding. So here it is, guys. So here is the areas that are growing in population. Now, you see right here, this area right here, this is the interior. So what's happened is a lot of people moved into there from Vancouver because they could no longer afford to live in, people born and raised in Vancouver have moved into the interior, right? So we'll look that up here. What is that? Oops. Okay, so this is what happened. So the reason why these other cities outside of Vancouver have gotten bigger is because Aboriginals and whites are leaving Metro Vancouver. So a lot of the cities in the interior, so right here, Aboriginals and whites leaving Metro Vancouver for other regions of BC, particularly to live in the Fraser Valley, Vancouver Island, Okanagan, according to Stats Canada. Affordability levels are just out of reach. So a lot of people have moved out into these areas here. So you're going to see, obviously, an uptick of immigrants moving into these cities here, where I am in Merritt. When I first moved in 4 years ago when I moved in, I was the only person here from the coast on my cul-de-sac. Now, everybody is everybody in the cul-de-sac is from the coast except one person living that's selling their home right now, and that'll be the last person from original Merritt that was here originally before the economic housing crisis on the coast. So there it is. So municipalities with the largest drop in population was Squamish, Kitimat, Pitt Meadows. The numbers, they saw numbers. We called BC Stats to understand their methodology, and they say the evidence we have on the ground, we suggest we have shrunk. So other towns are shrinking too. Overall, almost 40,000 of the new residents between 2018 and 2019 moved into Metro Vancouver Regional District. The fastest growing regional districts in the same time period were the Fraser Valley, 1.2%, Central Okanagan. So 40,000 new residents were brought in, but then people moved out of Vancouver because, again, rents. Let's see if I get this right here. This is live, guys. This is like live stuff here. Here we go. So when the city deems that the city of Vancouver now defines $3,702 rent as affordable housing for basically, and we got and I think Toronto has the most expensive one bedroom, or is it Vancouver? I can't remember. I did a video on it on my channel, but yeah. So there it is. So I'm not sure who's moving into the city. Oops, I just closed that. Okay, let's move on. World population is headed for a steep decline, yet Canada's growing. What's its secret? So we keep pushing, overpopulation. To unpack the Canadian solution, explaining how the country's attitude towards refugees and immigrants has set it apart, why other nations should take note if they want to thrive. So they still believe, a lot of people still believe that they need bigger populations to be able to thrive. They need bigger population to have a growing economy. This thing, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but that's you know what I'm saying? But it ties into the article I always bring up. So it goes into this article. Canada wants more Chinese, and Canada has been pumping in on average just until the new Canadian Prime Minister was in power on his first term. They said they're raising increases for visas to 500,000 per year, and opening up more visa offices with taxpayers' money could help Canada compete for Chinese worker students in lucrative tourist business. So it doesn't make any sense. It makes sense, but then we get into remarkable decline of fertility rates. Sorry, guys. Fertility rates. Sorry about that. There have been a remarkable global decline of number of children women are having, says researchers. Their report found fertility rates fell, meant nearly half the countries were now facing a baby bust, meaning that there are insufficient children to maintain their population size. So this is not, I don't understand how this is, how the first article I threw up there, I don't have it anymore because I accidentally closed the link, that BC's population grew by 80,000 last year when women aren't having children. It's not making any sense. Maybe it could be this. Birth tourism. This is from late 2019. Birth tourism is rising fast in Canada, up 13% in 1 year. So there you go, birth tourism. Canada, Toronto's reputation has a hotspot for birth tourism is rising fast, with new data reporting a 13% increase in a year. It's growing faster than immigration rates, faster than the overall population of Canada. Andrew Griffith, a fellow Environmentics Institute of Canadian Global Affairs Institute, said in a telephone interview. Birth tourism is a practice which babies are born in Canada to non-residents so they could receive automatic citizenship. So back in the 2006-2007 era in Canada, they were mass deporting Portuguese people from Ontario. A lot of the articles are down now. And there was a story here. Foreign labor shown the door. There was about roughly... Yeah, there's one here. Focus on Portuguese immigration deportations. There's a new video up here. I didn't see this. This is from April 2019. Portuguese deporting. They deported about 41,000 Portuguese families from Canada, Ontario, construction workers. Many of them been in the country for many years, and they even put up this video. So I'll play it here with a little bit of talking over.
Hello, my name is Gary, and I'm not Portuguese. I just want to make that clear. I'm just a guy who works in the construction industry who happens to have curly hair. So please don't put me on a plane. Now
he's referencing here, don't put me on a plane, because they would actually go to the high schools, to the gymnasium, the what do you call those guys? Immigration people would go down to the gymnasium, and they would call down all the kids that speak Portuguese to come to the gymnasium. Then they had to get on the phone and call all their parents to come and bring in documents. If they didn't have documents to prove they're allowed to be there, many families living in Canada 10, 20 years, own their homes and everything, were just taken from the spot, from that gymnasium in handcuffs, and put on an airplane. They weren't allowed to even sell their home or do anything.
The Conservative government is deporting scores of Portuguese workers. It's the right thing to do.
I know these Portuguese people.
Yep.
And they're all the same. Nothing against the Portuguese. Most of them, they've been over here 10, 15 years.
That's
they
right.
come over here. They're highly skilled. They get construction jobs. They work 6 days a week, go to church on Sunday, pay their taxes, send their kids to school. Quite frankly.
Yeah, that's really good. What, they are the root of?
They're the root of a lot of the problems we have in Canada. Them and their work ethic.
Yeah.
And their Thursday night soccer games.
Portuguese workers have skills, jobs, families. It's time for them to go.
So that this happened, but this was really bad. I remember like in 2003, 2004, I get pulled over by the cops. They come in, look in the window. Are you Portuguese? Are you Portuguese? in high school. Put up your hand if you speak Portuguese. Okay, go to the back of the class. I'm not dealing with you guys. I'm not dealing. Go to the back of the class. We don't want you guys. I don't want to even speak to you guys.
A skilled workforce is the last thing this country needs. And for a guy like me, who has very few skills, likes to take long smoke breaks, it makes life very difficult.
Portugal is just 5,200 kilometers from Iran.
That's true. That could be one of the reasons why the mass portation of Portuguese.
Because I just happen to look Portuguese. People think when they hire me to build something that I know what I'm doing, that I know how to use this, whatever this is. And that's just wrong.
The Conservative Party of Canada, making Canada a little less skilled, one Portuguese at a time.
And that's how bad it got. It got so bad that they were actually pulling articles. So then people are asking, oh, Mike, what's your deal with, people coming in from other countries to Canada? Canada is an open and free country. No, it's not. Canada's open and free to the select they choose to come here, right? The select that they want to be here, right? So this is what's happening. So you got this two-sided war where Canada deported tens of thousands of Portuguese back to Europe, but then they're bringing in many more people from other parts of the world. It makes no sense. And people living 12, 15 years and own their homes free and clear. So there you go. Remarkable decline in fertility rates. I can't even read. Fertility, fewer children, older moms. So this is an archive content in the Canadian mega trends, whatever. That's part of the Canadian government. So yeah, let's see. Your great-grandfather was one of 7 children. Your grandmother was one of 4. You are one of 3, and you're thinking of a one or two. If you happen to be a statistics, you currently the average 1.61 children per woman. I have 3 children. So, okay, here's the total fertility rate in Canada from 1926 to 2011, and it's just going down. High fertility in the mid-1800s, followed by the decline. So this is the Europeans were coming in here around this time, and it started to taper off here. But they were still having kids here because it's still up here, right? And then it just started to taper off. They closed immigration from Europe in 1993, so around right here. You saw a lot of, that's when you kind of saw the midpoint there. High fertility in the mid-1800s, followed by decline. So in the early 20th century, the average age at childbirth was about 30 years. So here's the average age rate at childbirth. So there it is, back in the early 20s there, back in the 70s. And then in the 80s, things started to pick up again. That begins to rise in the 70s. Yeah, we saw that. I just said that. So let's move on here. Why BC should introduce universal contraception coverage this year. So taxpayers will pay for our, basically, demise. This is basically, I think this is for Canadian people, what they're doing. I don't know why they're doing this. Well, the fertility rate was low in Canadian women, so might as well just now start giving out free contraceptive, right? About 40% of pregnancies in BC are unintended, but a lot of us are unintended pregnant. A lot of us, a good percentage of us are unintended pregnancies, right? A lot of us wouldn't be here right now if a lot of these measures were put in place. Unplanned pregnancies cost the country $320 million. Wait. If unplanned pregnancies why are they bringing in more people then? When we can take care of our own. They just said 70,000 people. BC grew. The province of BC grew 70,000 people. 70,000 people. This was posted 10 hours ago. The monthly cost of contraceptive pills might seem low, but can the amount as much as $240 per year? Meanwhile, the upfront costs of other contraceptive measures like IUDs and prohibitively high for youth. Wow. The effects of unplanned pregnancies. But these unplanned pregnancies, in my opinion, are a gift, or could be like that. What do you people say that saying? It could be an unknown gift or an unknown like a diamond in the sky in the rough. It could be it's unplanned, but maybe it's meant to be. What happened to that? It could be a miracle, and no one knows. It could be an opportunity, and you never know, right? But universal coverage exists elsewhere, so they're looking at other places that has exist in New Zealand, English colony, United Kingdom, English colony, Australia, English colony. And if you look at these countries are basically struggling. Their people, their locals are struggling to get into the. Oh, I get it. You protect them from having kids because they're not going to buy a house. They won't be able to afford a car. They won't be able to get into the norms, the what we used to have back in the 60s and 70s, packing groceries in a grocery mart, packing bags for customers when you could pay off your mortgage in 7-8 years back in the 70s and 80s. Ow! Because we don't have that anymore for us. So this way, if we kind of protect ourselves from having more kids, they'll be less impoverished. That's why we bring in more wealthy people. That's so smart. Connect the dots, guys. It all adds up in the end. Why society needs to make room for single, childless women. What it's like for single women without children having made the rounds this year, and I am part of that rising demographic and still regularly have to debunk the notion that I hide out with my cats and knitting needles and my loneliness, and I welcome them. Well, a lot of women hit the wall. A lot of them wait too long to settle down, and that's usually what happens. A lot of them want to. I'm not saying all women. I'm just saying some women like to live that Hollywood lifestyle, the glam, the pizzazz, the entitlement, and then they realize, oh my God, my biological clock is ticking, and more women are freezing their eggs and having children in their 40s and 50s now. Household types in Canada: one person, 28%. So more people are alone. Couple with children, 26%. Couple without children, 26%. Lone parent family, 9%. Non-family of two or more, 4%. Other family, 4%. Multi-generational, 3%. And that's about it. I think that's all I got there. But I wanted to throw this out there. I couldn't believe that article, that specific article. Let me find that article here again, so I could. Right here, BC's population. I got it right here. BC's population grew by 70,000 last year, but then, is it Canadians having children? That's the question. Is it birth tourism? Is it students coming in and then applying for permanent residency from other countries? What could it be? What could be crippling? But the thing is, once Canada loses, I mean, Canada's already lost its identity, I think, back in the early 2000s, late 1990s, early 2000s. Canada's lost that whole thing of being, people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that were in Canada at the time know what I'm talking about. They know where I'm coming from with this. And that's what, maybe I'm living a delusional lifestyle that maybe we're supposed to usher in this movement. And well, Mike, that's too bad for the Portuguese. They weren't welcome in Canada, so you're going to have to deal with that. That's just, that's just how the cookie crumbles. I guess I have to kind of go with the flow as you go along with it, right? And kind of, I guess, have to bear. I didn't vote these people in, right? I know who I voted for, and he obviously didn't win the election, so you know what I'm saying? So let me know what you guys think. The transformation of Canada is becoming just out of reach for most to handle. That's why I live in a small town. It's very Canadianized here. You still have that kind of, kids outside playing. I went outside with my kids to play hockey today. We were playing street hockey in front of the house. We live in a cul-de-sac. We were playing street hockey for 2 hours outside. We set up the nets. My little kids hitting the puck and just having fun with it. And other kids saw us and joined us. And then people driving by in the cul-de-sac saying hi to us. And that's, everyone screaming, car! And I'm like, yeah, that's it right there. That's music to my ears. Hockey sticks hitting the ground and children screaming car. Canada was just incredible so long ago. Maybe I'm like Uncle Rico. I'm just living in 1981. And I guess refuse to accept the transformation that is basically handed to us. I'll be reading your comments later. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Guys, if you want to join the channel, go here, click join. Please join the channel. Be part of the community. Be part of everything. If you guys want to shop, go ahead. We have Mike in the Night. We've been covering a few major issues in the world during Mike in the Night with Collins. And you're also very, very welcome to message me on Facebook. And I'm also on Instagram showing my ugly mug. So if you guys, I like this one. Look at this one here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd like to know. I love you guys very much. I love everybody, right? I'm not picking on anyone. I just want people to know that you know, things are changing, but they're not changing for the better. And I don't know why the people that live in this country or have given themselves to this country and laid the pipe here in this country, so to say, or infrastructure, are being punished for it now. And that's a Mike and Knight logo there. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching. I'll be reading comments shortly.